As the Doomslayer is burning his way across Mars and subsequently the demons caught in his path are usually just fighting for their very lives. Terrified and easily put down, the Doomslayer makes his way up the chain of command, ripping and tearing anything apart that gets too close. He encounters one particular demon from his ancient past that actually remembers him all too well. This particular demon appears to be the only one who is not afraid to go toe-to-toe with the Doomslayer. While its hubris is short-lived, the fact is that this demon is pretty stout and usually should have nothing to fear concerning mere mortals. So today we pretty much know everybody's read the title. Let's cover the Cyberdemon from Doom 2016, shall we? So let's kick this thing off first with a little bit of a history lesson on the complete and lack of foresight by humanity first. The Cyberdemon is a particularly old demon. Known as the Balgar demon, it apparently in the past at some point in the Hell universe fought the Doomslayer and was torn to shreds. Referred to as a relic, the pieces of this creature were found, and upon the scientists realizing what it was, decided that this creature would look pretty cool pieced back together. Originally, it was supposed to serve an anatomic or educational role, and even possibly an inspirational one for further projects, but then a discovery was made. Despite the body being petrified, which by our universe's standards meant it's not coming back, they could reanimate it in the presence of Argent energy. Upon the discovery, none of the scientists sat back for a moment considering the prospect of reanimating a behemoth, and instead chose to aggressively begin putting the demon back together and fusing its original body. Through their work, the creature began to take shape as more and more pieces were collected. 100% of the demon was not able to be located, so eventually the UAC equipped it with mechanical working portions to make up for the lost body parts. Another important portion is the attenuator in the chest. This supplies the body with Argent energy in our universe, seeing as that stuff is really not exactly prevalent. As they were putting the demon back together, they were feeding it a small supply of Argent energy to get the tissue going and alive. Originally, their ill-fated plan was supposed to be the ability to create a creature that could be used as a weapon. Technically, the plan succeeded, but this weapon would not work for them. Instead, it would turn on its saviors and kill quite a few people before finally being contained. How did this happen? The demon was originally put into sort of like a stasis. This stasis was meant to contain it, and it was pretty clear they couldn't control the demon should it end up actually moving around, so like I said, the stasis was very important. During the process, Argent energy from the attenuator in its chest activated certain portions of its brain. The demon was then able to control this energy, so it immediately reactivated its medulla oblongata, which in turn restored its own motor function. From here, things turned into an absolute disaster. The demon was able to use the energy to quickly restore its circulatory system, which in turn restored the muscle, which then meant it could get up and start walking around and eating people once more. And you just absolutely know someone in there was 3 days from retirement. The only reason this creature wasn't rampaging through the complex was due to someone apparently sacrificing themselves. But let's be real, it was more just like a brainwashed peon that lured it there. It lured the Cyberdemon into a holding cell where the others were able to close the doors and contain it. And this is where it waits until the Doomslayer finds it. This creature is the result of extremely poor planning and an unearned overconfidence that humanity is known for. And this is why we are the top species though. Human race for life, playa. Anyways, as the Doomslayer makes his way through the door, it exemplifies the strength of the Cyberdemon and what it actually possesses. It rips open the door fairly easily, which is several feet thick of just solid metal. It then grabs the Doomslayer and throws him. But our boy Doomslayer, being the badass that he is, does the most Dragon Ball Z move I have ever seen in a video game and uses his feet to stop the speed. An interesting thing at this point happens, which shows that the Cyberdemon has a lot more going on in its brain than you might think. The demon stops and does not immediately attack. It clearly remembers the Doomslayer from its previous battle. Interesting because even though the brain was more than likely ripped apart after the Doomslayer was done with him, its memories are still intact. The hesitation it has is also important for another reason. An animal would just straight up attack as soon as they saw prey. The Cyberdemon holding back to observe the Doomslayer means that it is more than likely sapient. And really, that is not too much of a leap. It is known that the Cyberdemon appears to be much smarter than its smaller counterparts, as it was able to actively harness the Hell energy and restart portions of its brain. On top of this, a report filed after the luring back into the holding area by one of the scientists suggests that this was not done on instinct, but instead was a choice. This would seem to suggest that the Cyberdemon, while not a big brainy brain spider brain, is still a mastermind in its own right and could potentially govern the will of lesser demons. So with that history lesson wrapped up, let's get to its morphology and take a look at what we're dealing with. Firstly, this demon is massive, standing approximately double the height of a Baron of Hell, which towers over humans. This demon is like a walking house. Its height is about 25 feet or 7.6 meters from foot to horn. If I had to put a weight on it, each leg would weigh about as much as a Baron, and considering all the attachments on its arms would probably be as heavy. This is where things start to get a little tricky. This creature is so massive, it's hard to really understand how much it would weigh. And things start turning into just numbers that are really long, so let's just use Barons as the standard. This creature would more than likely be around 5 times as heavy as your typical Baron, and I'll put a card up on screen if you want to go learn about Barons. I had to call them Barons of Doom because of the, you can't say hell in your titles. Anyways, on the body is also a fairly interesting structure covering from head to toe. A natural armor coating, like with most other demons, exists, but this one in particular looks like a Praetor suit. This armor appears to be made out of a chitinous material, which raises another point. Is it somehow related to the Mancubus? The Mancubus seemingly has the same armor material that forms on its body, suggesting that maybe these creatures hail from the same universe or even same planet. Chitinous material isn't too strange on insect creatures, but there is definitely certain demons that seem to sport it, while others almost seem to have leathery coverings. Anyhow, this natural armor protects the creature from damage, making it very durable and difficult to actually inflict pain on. On top of this, the added components by the UAC is not really helping. So starting with the feet, of course, we see one foot is more heavily damaged than the other. The left foot still has all 5 of its toes with blunt claws at the end. On the right foot, we see a much more meaty mashup of flesh and metal. The toes had to be replaced as presumably they were never found, and part of the foot is clearly missing. The armor on the shins is more complete on the left shin area than on the right. Not really sure what happened during the fight, where the right is rougher looking, but considering the Doomslayer only measures up to just under the right knee, that is a preferable location to strike. The legs are shaped like ours. A lot of demons seem to have the digitigrade structure as they get larger, which helps support the extra weight, but the Cyberdemon's evolution said screw it. The plantigrade structure is in full effect with forward-facing kneecaps. Of course, the armor structuring is there on the kneecaps as well, with the right knee being worse for wear as it had to be replaced with UAC components because it was more than likely never found. Moving up to the pelvic region, the armor has continued and up into the abdominal area. The armor appears to be heavily damaged as well. So damaged, in fact, that if you move up towards the thoracic area, you begin to see that the ribs on the left side of this demon are exposed. More than likely, in its normal form, this armor would not be as heavily messed up, but after a fight with the Doomslayer, this is basically expected to be the case. Moving up the chest in particular, we see some alterations through UAC metalling. The attenuator is buried very deep in the chest, more than likely going all the way through to the back armor. This would clearly be going straight through the lung of this creature, assuming it has them. This supplies the demon with the energy it needs to stay up and moving, as without it, it actually drops dead. The arms of the demon are massive. The right arm has leftover armor plating on the shoulder, with the elbows free of this material. The right wrist has a sharp chitinous protrusion, which can be used as a battering weapon as seen when it breaks open the door. There's a sharp hook on the end, which quite clearly can be used for slashing or eviscerating should the target be large enough. The hands are tipped with relatively blunt claws, but 5 fingers nonetheless. The left arm seems to have been completely replaced. The arm being in there seems unlikely, as the elbow joint seems to actually be completely mechanical. The rocket launcher hooks up onto the shoulder and could actually be integrated into the nervous system of this demon. Where the hand would be is really just gonna fire rockets, heavily damaging any target it's currently hunting. The head of the demon is fairly interesting. Much like the other demons, it sports a pair of horns. One of these horns is cracked and damaged more than likely from the previous battle with the Doomslayer. The jaws seem to almost come in 3 portions. The main jaw holding several jagged teeth, which fit in with the top teeth. Then flanking on both sides of the central jaw are 2 more connected pieces with one singular tooth on each side. This is a strange structure to find, as they seem kind of vestigial. On the face exist 4 eyes that are beady and yellow, and based on the structure of the face and body, I don't believe it evolved from the Mancubus due to this, but undeniably this creature could share some sort of relation to it. An alarming aspect that the demon has is the power to resurrect itself. During your fight with the demon, you manage to take it down by ripping out the attenuator in its chest. Although this is not even a remotely permanent solution. Pulling the attenuator, you basically power down the demon. This should kill it, but after the opening of the portal, the demon is quickly able to use the hell energy that is abundantly located there to get itself back up and attacking. Though now it is more powerful than before. Good times, right? In this universe, the demon appears to have control over the very fabric of the physical plane as well. It is able to control the very ground and trap the Doomslayer in confined areas to increase the damage that it can do. So how does this thing take you out? Well, it's just more or less your standard. The laser attack and Hellwave sent at you will typically just slice you in half. Either way, this demon is an absolute nightmare to deal with on harder difficulties. Now, the Doomslayer put the smackdown on this creature long ago, but apparently it didn't learn that it should fear what is angry. When you are in hell, it's pretty clear the only way to put this thing down permanently is to destroy its ability to manipulate hell energy, which involves destroying the brain. And luckily for the Doomslayer, this demon still has one horn that is just perfect for conducting batting practice. He will rip off the horn of the demon and completely smash its face in. This destroys the entire head of the demon, in turn destroying the brain, which ensures the demon will not be getting back up. Considering the Doomslayer killed a titan in hell without even wearing the suit he currently has, you'd think that the Cyberdemon would be a little apprehensive about fighting, but the memory from the battle long ago has apparently left this demon seeing red. One thing that I also thought was pretty cool was that the natural occurring armor on the Belgar demon looks an awful lot like the Doomslayer suit in Doom Eternal. Perhaps this armor style is more effective in combat. Either way, I thought the similarities in detail was interesting. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video over the Cyberdemon. Also, just a side note, I wanted to add something about the Starfish real quick. Yeah, it looks like it's probably more likely related to the Wells catfish than an orca. New information, new ideas, huh? I just don't live in Russia, so I didn't realize there were catfish native to the area. I'm not an ichthyologist after all. Microbiology is more my forte. But apart from that, I will drop my Twitter, Patreon, merch links, and Discord links in the description. And speaking of patrons, I'd like to thank mine as always. First up, our astronauts are Joseph Givens. Thank you for the support, man. Next up, it's Not a Spoon. Thank you as well, sir. And then we got the man known as Laffy No Skill. Huge shout out to you as well, my dude. Next up, our scientists are Artyom Chornage, and then we have A. Laurantis. Thank you, guys. Our lone resident is Punished Meat. The three geneticists are Allison Caspero, Andrew Lawson, and Divine Whisper. Hanging out with their masters of biology, we have Adam Hartswick, Cameron Smith, Cough Syrup, Edgy McGee, Gage Morrill, Mr. Poyfish, Pendleton 115, Stutz, The Ren of Lies, and The Otterman. And last but not least, with their bachelors of morphological sciences, we have Add to the List, Akigao Comics, Alex the Gun Guy, Anthony Charles West, Anthony Wolf, Captain Gasmask, Dark Gear, Dragon of Death, Dustin Ellis, Eric Scott Gillies, Fruit Eater, Gabriel Hernandez, Icarus, Jake Russell, Kyle McHenry, Marcus Vall, Molten Tarts, Professor Bennips, Russell McBride, Sir Deadlock, The Original Fat, and Trixie Little Moon. Thank you, guys. So again, thank you all for the support on the charity stream. After YouTube's cut, we raised $408 for my friend with Pectus Excavatum. So everyone who donated and participated, you are cool in my book. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.